What is going on, everybody? This is Prodigy Freebird here, bringing us another video here. This is with Prodigy Freebird with heel turns and high spots, guys. Bringing us another video. This is episode 4 of our podcast. It's not just me. I'm usually joined by my partner, but he's off doing other things, so you just got me tonight, guys. My partner will be back on Wednesday night for our Wednesday night Dynamite review, so make sure you guys come join us for that. We'll be covering that on Thursday at around 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will send out a tweet before we do, so just in case if you guys forget, you guys could still get that notification. Next up, guys, we do have a Twitter. It's at HTurn and HSpots there. It's right under, it's actually right there. That is our Twitter that me and Charlie will both use together. If you go in the description of that, you'll find a link to both mine and Charlie's actual individual Twitters. That's how you can get a hold of us that way too. The link will also be in the description below after I upload this live stream. And overall, guys, let's just get right into it here. Monday Night Raw was nothing special. It was nothing special. I mean, I guess you could say it was better than last year. Last year was god-awful. The Raw after Mania last year was so bad. And so you definitely could say that this one was better. But the only reason that this one was better was for one reason and one reason only, and that man was Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was kicked off, and we'll talk about more about Cody here in a second, but he kicked off Raw, and he commanded respect. That crowd really didn't give a lot of, any feedback during any of the segments except that Cody Rhodes segment. You could tell that the crowd really only cared about that Cody Rhodes segment, and really they weren't really interested in anything else, and it kind of came off like that on TV. I mean, you could even say the Dallas crowd wasn't hot. They were really only hot that second night for that Pat McAfee match with Seven Nation Army. But other than that, I mean, Raw has been a complete and utter disaster. Not as bad as SmackDown has been lately, but Raw needs something to get some life back into it. The only plan that you should be having right now is for Cody Rhodes to beat Roman Reigns. Who are you going to tell me is going to beat Roman Reigns right now besides Cody Rhodes? There is not one superstar that can beat Roman Reigns right now in that company besides Cody Rhodes. I do think Cody Rhodes should take the title from Roman Reigns. Maybe not both of them. Maybe only the WWE Championship, or maybe one or the other. You know, have some way around it. But you don't want to see Roman get pinned to take anything away from his gimmick. But you also want to, and that's only if, and I say a big if. Maybe they take the that's a big if they're not doing the Rock match at Mania. If you're doing the Rock match at Mania, you hold you hold both titles on Rock until next year's WrestleMania, and then Cody Rhodes can get it. But if Reigns is not facing the Rock at next year's Mania, what's the point of him holding on to 2 championships? There was no point for you to do all of this if the end goal is not Rock versus Roman at next year's WrestleMania in Hollywood. I was surprised. I even said this on my WrestleMania review. I was surprised that we did not see The Rock at Mania Night 2, because I was so confident that we were going to see him. He was supposed to be building, the program with him and Reigns going into next year's WrestleMania, the full year build, which obviously we did not get. And it's really not. I'm not mad that we didn't get it. It's, I can live without The Rock. But I guess I just wish the storyline would have, been that The Rock was just going to challenge him at next year's WrestleMania. But obviously it's not. We might still get to that, way. Hopefully, The Rock does not win the Royal Rumble. Hopefully. But let's get in here to Monday Night Raw. We got a lot to cover here, so let's get into it, guys. The Raw after Mania started with recaps from Wrestlemania, both nights, all the top spots. Then the lights go out and Cody Rhodes' music hits. Cody Rhodes had this platform in the middle of the ramp, and it was actually kind of sick because he rose up over it and there was like fog, and then Cody gets off of this like platform and fireworks go off behind him. It was pretty cool. He gets into the ring. He grabs a mic and he says, "So what do you guys want to talk about?" The crowd laughs. "It's been 45 days since I was a free agent. Everybody thinks that the decision to return to WWE was difficult. It was not. The star that left them in the dust," which was obviously a callback to Stardust. The man that signed a multi-year deal with WWE. So he confirmed himself that he signed a multi-year deal with WWE. So we have him for, probably 3 years. I think was is the number I saw. Cody says, "If there was a glimmer of doubt the moment I rose up in front of 77-something thousand fans and defeated Seth Rollins, that doubt was eradicated. A man often finds his destiny on the path he takes to avoid it." He says, "Look at the Tron, a photo of Dusty Rhodes from a Madison Square Garden event in like I want to say it was 86. I could be wrong on that date. Don't quote me on that date. Anyway, he says, look at the Tron. The photo of Dusty appears. Cody says, "That's my father, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. It would be simple to call him my father, but he was my hero." He started to get choked up after this. He says, "This photo from Madison Square Garden, he was holding the WWE Championship that would be held by Hulk Hogan, The Undertaker, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, all would have held after him. This photo was by my dad's bed until the day he died. I didn't know that I didn't know you were champion like Hulk Hogan," Cody asked his dad. Then that is when Dusty explained the championship advantage to Cody Rhodes, that he won the match because his opponent was disqualified, but that didn't mean he won the belt. Cody said that at that moment he was going to win the championship and give it to Dusty. "Unfortunately, that dream died right in front of me. That opportunity passed, and I obviously cannot physically give it to Dusty Rhodes personally right now, but I can put it on the American Nightmare." Cody says, "I have made my intentions clear and I'm ready. I will do it. I am going to dive the distinction that my family has avoided. I'm going to do it for the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes." Seth Rollins' music hits. He walks out. He looks at Cody Rhodes in the ring. He gets into the ring. He then looks at Cody in the middle of the ring. Cody Rhodes drops the mic, offers a handshake to Rollins. Rollins has his maniacal laugh. He shakes his head. He shakes Cody Rhodes' hand, and he says, "You're welcome," he says, "Welcome home," and simply walks away. After this, we immediately got transferred into a championship contenders match for Naomi and Sasha Banks versus Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. Naomi walks out with the championship, followed by Sasha Banks. We already cut to a commercial break. I'm going to make a comment here just so I don't have to make it later on in the episode. But I probably will make it again in the later episode too, to be honest with you. There are way too many commercials on Monday Night Raw. This was probably my first time in, 7 months watching Monday Night Raw. And man, I could not stand the amount of commercials. It felt like every segment there was another commercial. Usually AEW is pretty good about it, I feel like, with their pacing in between, commercials. But WWE, man, I feel like they have one pay-per-view every 10 minutes. Or one commercial every 10 minutes. And it kind of makes the product hard to watch, not going to lie. It just takes away from the in-ring work from that they're trying, the story that they're trying to tell in the ring. Rhea Ripley, is the first one to start. Match starts. She holds a vertical suplex for 20 seconds. Kind of like Bandito did it, but, it just was 40 seconds too short. In the match, Rhea sends Sasha outside. Naomi takes sends Sasha outside. Naomi takes the pin, kicks out, reaches in the ring, hits a leg drop for a 2 count. Then we go into another commercial. After commercial, Sasha hits a grab for a 2 count. Liv Morgan hits a step up enziguri, which was kind of nice, to Sasha. Sasha kicked out. Sasha then tagged in Naomi. She hits rear view for the win. I gave this a 5 out of 10. It really just didn't do anything for me. Again, I did reiterate this yesterday on my WrestleMania Night 2 review that Rhea Ripley, or that the tag team championships are the worst thing ever created. Nobody cares about the tag team division, and that even we'll go into it later on when we get to the Zelina and Carmella promo. But man, all I gotta say is wait till we get to that promo, because I'm about to light up that championship. Nothing much more to say here about this match. This match just kind of fell dull. Everything after the Cody Rhodes segment to me was dull. It was almost as if Cody Rhodes, that segment was so great that it kind of bled into the other segments for me. Meaning, the first time when I went through these notes, the first hour after I started, because I'm taking notes as I'm watching the show. So the first hour after I start taking notes, so we get into the 9 o'clock hour. And I am kind of thinking to myself, this hasn't been a bad show. And then I look up on my notes and I'm like, nothing has happened on this show, man. And then I was just kind of like, everything since the Cody match has been dull. But let's continue on here. In the ring, after the match, we get a really weird spot to me. KO's music hits as Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan are still walking out. And then we cut to a commercial. Now, this kind of furthers my point, almost, in a way, that nobody cares about the tag team championships, because in the middle of the match here, yes, they lost, but they're still literally playing KO's music as Liv and Rhea Ripley is walking up the stage. Now, to me, when I look at that, if I was Liv Morgan or Rhea Ripley, I don't know how. Obviously, I'm not a wrestler, so I don't know how that feels to be in that spot. But I can't imagine that feels good to hear somebody else's music from a different segment come on after you were still walking out. At least let them get out and then hit KO's promo. Don't, do it as you could still see him on cam. That was my only comment there. After the match, so KO was interrupted by this man named Ezekiel. And now, Ezekiel looked kind of familiar. And KO was poking fun at kind of why he looked familiar. KO could not put his finger on it. And he asked Ezekiel if he was Elias. He said, "Are you Elias? You kind of look familiar. I don't know where it was from. I don't know where I've definitely seen you before," is kind of what he said. And he all right, so let's get into it here, and then we'll take it out, and then we'll go over it after and what I think about it. KO comes out to deliver the promo about his match with Steve Austin. He says Stone Cold Steve Austin is still great, but he also blamed a back injury for his loss. Someone music hit, and the Titantron said the name Ezekiel. This was actually Elias, but he looked almost nothing like we remember it. I actually tweeted a picture out. I think I tweeted it both out on the Heel Turns and High Spots channel, as well as my personal Twitter, Freebird Prodigy on Twitter. And you won't even recognize him. Just look for the guy that you don't even know who it is, and that's Elias. He literally looks like a creator wrestler from 2K, to be honest with you. He had shaved, no beard, he cut his hair, and he's now wearing trunks. He claimed that to be Elias's younger brother. The segment kind of ended with just KO kind of just walking away. This was definitely a strange re-debut for Elias, but obviously the company wanted to go in different ways with Elias's gimmick, but I think this character is gonna suck. Why should we care about Ezekiel? What is Ezekiel's gimmick? We really didn't even know his gimmick. At least he had a gimmick with being Elias. I mean, he would go out there, and say, "Hi, hello, I am Elias," and I thought that was, not a bad gimmick, but it just got stale after a while. But I wish nothing but the best for Ezekiel. But this segment definitely did not do it for me as a re-debut for Elias. So I am going to give this promo a 5 out of 10. We then turn to Dominik. Did I say 9 out of 10? I meant a 4 out of 10. We then transfer into Dominik Mysterio versus The Miz. And now, I kid you not when I say this. I turned away because there was a recap of last night, on commercial break. When I turned my head back to the screen, I was looking at, I have two monitors here. I was watching Raw on this monitor, having my notes on this monitor. So I turned my head this way, start typing some notes, and I look this way, and I kid you not, this match, I think, lasted like a minute. And Dominik goes for the 615. So I swear that this was all that happened in the match. But Dominik goes for 615, and then Miz counters his skull crushing finale for the 3. And I mean, it was kind of entertaining. I mean, it definitely nothing. And this match was so bad. This is where we do get Veer Mahan. So after the match, Veer Mahan, who looks great, his beard looks phenomenal. He looks like he just looks intimidating, and it almost adds to that realism in the ring. So hopefully they've only been pushing him since almost, I feel like 9 months at this point, but so hopefully WWE can book Veer Mahan well, and we'll see what comes with Veer Mahan on Monday Night Raw here. He takes out the Mysterios, then slams Rhea. He turns to Dominik, and he locks in a modified camel clutch called the cervical clutch. Dominik can do nothing. He kind of just Dominik was tapping out in the ring, and Veer just wouldn't let go, and an official had to come over and pull Veer off of Dominik, and then Veer stood tall into the ring after that. After that segment, we get a Bianca Belair promo. This was an alright promo, I thought, but let's get into it here. And then, so she says, "I want to thank you guys for never giving up on my dream, or never giving up on me, that I would hold this title again. The crowd chants, you deserve it. I stand here with one eye thanks to Becky Lynch, or I thank Becky Lynch for that, because without that SummerSlam moment, I wouldn't have been able to realize that I needed to get better. I realized it could have been taken away in an instant, but you know what? I didn't cheat. I didn't screw over my opponent. Becky Lynch tried to take everything from me, but I am the one standing here tonight. You guys deserve better, so I became champion. I know how hard it is to stay at the top, so I'm ready to fight everyone back. I'm ready to fight everybody in the back, because I am different. I am better now. Now that Becky Lynch doesn't have to defend this title anymore, she should figure out who she is, because I know who I know exactly who I am, the Raw Women's Championship, and then the Raw Women's Champion, and then the segment ended. So then we get a advertisement for a Bron Breakker versus Dolph Ziggler NXT 2.0 match for the NXT Championship. Now, I have two thoughts about this before we get into this match. One, they literally just fought Saturday afternoon at Stand and Deliver. Why are you putting them in another match on Raw? So let's actually, I want to go through this match first, and then I'll give my 2 cents on it. So, Bron Breakker, before the match, Ziggler slaps Bron, then Bron takes it to Ziggler in the corner, followed by a suplex. Ziggler counter punches, hits a neck breaker for a 2 count. Puts the rope, put him on the ropes, kicks him in the face, and then Bron. Okay, my bad. Bron quickly kicks him in the face and then slams Ziggler down. Bron picks Ziggler up again. What's going on, Charlie? Hopefully all is going good here. We're about halfway through the Monday Night Review. We're talking about the Bron Breakker versus Dolph Ziggler match right now, actually. We're just getting into it. Bron picks Ziggler up, puts him on the top rope, but Ziggler wiggles out of the way. Drop kicks Breakker to the outside. After the break, Ziggler hits a drop kick for a 2 count. Ziggler then gets power bombed by Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker and Dolph Ziggler were then teeing off each other in the middle of the ring. Bron hits a shoulder tackle on Ziggler, followed by a snap suplex, followed by another shoulder tackle. Bobby Roode then interferes, leading to a kickout. Bron then takes out Roode on the outside. When he returns to the ring, Dolph hits a Famouser, but Bron kicks out at 2. Ziggler super kicked Bron, but Bron kicked out. Ziggler was going for the Famouser again, but Bron hits him with a spear and then slams Ziggler down for the 3 count. Bron Breakker is your new NXT champion. Now, as I said, and I even said this match happened on Saturday. Why would you do it again here? You should have just had him either win at the pay-per-view, or I think they should have just called him up tonight. Because there was no point of doing that match here again last night. So, as I was saying, on Saturday, Bron Breakker had a match with Dolph Ziggler for the NXT Championship. Dolph Ziggler Bobby Roode basically interfered in that match to win, to help Ziggler retain. And I think that's kind of why we got this match. But I really wish, instead of giving us more matches with the same people, I really would wish, differentiate, get some new stars in there. So we're not seeing the same matches every week. We shouldn't be seeing, there's no reason why we should be seeing Bron Breakker and Dolph Ziggler on an NXT pay-per-view on Saturday and then seeing that same exact match, literally almost verbatim, seeing that same exact match and then giving Breakker his title back and then giving on Monday Night Raw. It just makes no sense to me, and I just think it kind of just takes away from, and considering the fact that nobody has been a 2-time NXT champion this close together. If you look at everybody else's reigns, like when Joe did it, when Finn Balor did it, I think when Adam Cole did it, I think maybe Keith Lee did it. I don't know if I could be wrong there, but my point is that they had, some of them only has had 1 title, and Bron Breakker has already got 2 here. I just don't like what they're doing with the new NXT, if I'm being honest. It just is not a good vibe, and that's why we don't review it here on the channel. We just do not classify that as pro wrestling, guys. Overall, this match really, it wasn't great by any means. And like I said, they literally just replayed it from Saturday. They didn't replay it, but it was just everything that happened Saturday. So I'm going to give this match a 5 out of 10. Bobby Lashley promo. MVP introduces Bobby Lashley. Lashley gets into the ring. He says, when Omos challenged me at WrestleMania, I couldn't resist. I had to see just how scary he was. When I knocked him out on his ass, I knew it could be done at WrestleMania. He threw me around. He was the strongest man I have faced. So you're telling me that Omos, guys, is stronger than Brock Lesnar, stronger than Brock Lesnar, stronger than John Cena? There's no way that is possible. So I just automatically don't care about this promo. Therefore, but I will continue with this, with that. But he said he had to make a mistake in the match, and I knew I was going to get him to make one, and then I was going to pin him 1, 2, 3, and that is exactly what happened. Omos's music hits. Omos walks out. He says, so he doesn't even have a mic, and he says, I want my freaking rematch. It was a fluke, is basically what he says. So MVP then says, Colossus wants a rematch. And then MVP then hits and attacks Bobby Lashley. And after this, Omos picks him up, slams him, and MVP says, crushes him. And he throws Lashley into the corner. And then Omos crushes him into the corner. He picks up Lashley again. MVP kicks Lashley. Omos picks up Lashley again, slams him down. MVP turns on Bobby Lashley, aligning himself with Omos. Great move. Lashley does not need to be with Omos. Lashley does not need to be with MVP, rather, but Omos needs somebody to talk for him. And so I think this is a great move, all in all. It really harms nothing. Bobby Lashley can talk just fine without anyone. So I don't know why people should be concerned with MVP leaving Bobby Lashley's side. There's really no need to be concerned with that. And I think we should, I think that what we should be concerned about here is the fact that MVP is very good at talking on the mic. He's been doing this for a while, and this is only going to help Omos. It's only going to get, maybe help with getting Omos over a little bit. I don't know how you're going to get Omos over, because I think he is a horrible wrestler, but that's not my job to worry about. It's just my job to review it. So here we go. We get a Rhea Ripley backstage segment here. And all this was I've been talking to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, and I convinced them to give us another rematch next week. Liv Morgan said, thank you, bestie, and the two walked off. 4 out of 10, guys. Why do you deserve another rematch after you just lost the previous night at WrestleMania? And they just lost earlier in the show. Earlier in Monday Night Raw, so you had 2 losses in a row. And now, at the end of that, they need to go to the back of the line like everybody else. You don't need another match next week on Monday Night Raw. What sense does that make, guys? Come on, really think about that logically. You literally just lost the championships at Mania. Or, I'm sorry, actually, Queen Zelina and Carmella were the championships, I think Zelina and Carmella were the championships. And so anyway, though, you challenged, you were in the Fatal 4-Way match at WrestleMania. You couldn't come out clean. So then they make a match for Monday Night Raw. Again, can't get the job done. Why should you be given a third rematch? It makes no sense. So 4 out of 10 from me. You don't need to just be handing out rematches just because, guys. Come on now. Queen Zelina here and Carmella here. This was supposed to be a match, I think, but then Zelina says, let me get one thing straight, Carmella. You cost us the tag team titles. You are so obsessed with yourself and being the best. And your man who's not even, your man who something. But Carmella says, who cares? When Corey Grave and I get married, Zelina, you were going to be a bridesmaid, but now you could be the flower girl. Zelina attacks Carmella. Carmella runs to Corey Graves. Then Zelina walks away, and Carmella starts kissing Corey Graves live on Raw. 4 out of 10. Terrible segment. Why should I care, guys, about the tag titles? They still haven't given me 1 ounce of reason to care. And so, you know, you break up this tag team here. And so the 4 tag teams you had at Mania are now down to 3. And it just makes no sense. Kill the fucking tag team division. They need to merge the women's divisions next from Raw and SmackDown. I don't care what Fox execs say. I don't care what frickin' SmackDown. I don't care what AEW or A&E execs are saying, because it's the quality of the show that should matter. The ratings should have something to do with it, but focus on the quality of the show. How can anyone watch this show on a daily basis? I mean, you would put me to sleep. You would put me to sleep, and that is exactly why we cover AEW here on this channel and not WWE. Austin Theory, or the Usos, were backstage with Austin Theory, and basically all this was here was a promo to the next match, and the Usos kind of were like, unlike some people who are here, we win, and then walked away. It's basically all that happened there. Just some, talking back and forth here. We get into the match here. RK Bros and Finn Balor versus Austin Theory and the Usos. The match starts. Finn Balor and Jimmy Uso are in the ring. Finn Balor hits a sunset flip into a drop kick out at 2. Finn Balor then tags in Jimmy Uso, who tags in Jey Uso, who tags in Austin Theory. People chanting 7 Nations Army in honor of Pat McAfee the previous night on Wrestlemania. Austin Theory throws Riddle into the corner, takes out the Usos. Austin gets taken out by Riddle, and then Riddle was going for the springboard. Austin Theory countered. Then we get a commercial. After the commercial, Jey Uso takes it to Matt Riddle, delivers a cutter. Matt Riddle kicked out at 2. Matt Riddle then knees Uso in the face, hot tags Randy Orton in. Orton DDTs Uso. While he was doing this, Austin tagged himself in, and Finn tags himself in. The detour was broken up by Jimmy Uso. Randy Orton then RKO'd Uso. Jay superkicked Randy and Matt Riddle. Then Balor hit a sling blade, and then Austin Theory hit the last A Theory for the pin. This was just really a finisher's fest here at the closing statements. Not a long match by any means. I think this went less than 10 minutes. So this match is going to get a 5 out of 10 from me. So now we get to an Edge promo, guys. And Damian Priest appears to make perfect sense for AJ. For all of you thinking this was hard, for all of you thinking this hard for too long, Damian Priest fought himself just like me. For all of you sheep. So without further ado, I command you all rise. I said all arise, for the man who respects my ways, who will be the punishment for my guilty, Damian Priest. Damian Priest walks out. He handshakes Edge. He grabs the mic. Edge says, now, Damian, I have to ask you about my message. That made you take your career back in your own hands at Mania. Priest says, weeks into Mania, as Mania was getting built, it was a lot. I tried to please everyone except for me. That changed when I heard your message. A couple weeks ago, I know you were speaking to AJ Styles, but I felt like you were talking to me, and that is why it is easy to pledge my allegiance to you. When I stopped caring about the sheep was the same night you took your power. We will pass any challenge that... This is Edge talking here at this point. He says, when I stopped caring about the sheep was the same night you took your power. We will pass any that the challenges our method And I know, AJ, you will keep coming. AJ, your best option is to fight. Think of your family. Think of your children. AJ then walks out, takes it to Priest. AJ sends him over the barricade. He, in the ring, he grounds and pounds to Edge. He takes ground and pound to Edge. Though Edge throws him into the post, and Edge grabs the chair, but Priest then picks AJ up and spears him. Officials intervene and save AJ. Pretty good promo here by Edge. This was probably a solid 7 out of 10 for me. It really didn't do anything, but all it really did was solidify Damian Priest's spot in this faction with Edge. I can't wait to see how this faction develops in the coming days. And I mean, I'm really interested in Edge right now. I will say that. There's only a couple things I'm interested in WWE right now. Roman Reigns is one. Cody Rhodes is one. Definitely Edge is the other, and I think that's it. After this match, we get a match with the Street Profits versus Alpha Academy. Before the bell rings, Chad and Otis take out the Street Profits. Then Adam Pearce says, if you want to fight all four at once, all you had to do was ask me. It is now going to be a Texas Tornado Tag Team match. Montez Ford jumped over the corner, taking everybody out. Everybody else was on the ringside area, and Montez Ford jumped over the corner in the ring. He jumped over the corner on the outside and took everybody out. Street Profits then double teamed Gable. He kicks out at 1. Otis enters the ring. Angelo Dawkins takes it to Otis in the corner. Gable hits a suplex for a 2 count. Otis hits a splash for a 2 count. Then they cut to commercial. After the break, Otis brings a table into the ring. Otis was about to, but Otis was about to put Angelo Dawkins through a table, but Dawkins escapes and then goes outside, where Dawkins makes Otis hit the steel steps. Back on the inside, the Street Profits set up the table up. Montez Ford hits a splash through the table for the win. The match didn't do, or on Gable for the win. The match didn't really do anything for me, guys. Even it was a Texas Tornado Tag Team match, it really didn't add anything to the match. You know, this was just one of those things that they were in Texas, so creative had no better ideas to come up with. It was, you know, how about we're in Texas? Why don't we do a Texas Tornado Tag Team match? That sounds like a great idea, Bruce. And again, this just really didn't do anything for me. And we get to the last segment here, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns physically looked fine. There was reports, I talked about this on Mania review. Roman Reigns was wincing from the pain a little bit from the injuries, but he physically looked fine. Heyman then hands Roman a mic and he says, I know what you all want to know, but we are going to switch things up a little bit. Who are the single longest reigning tag team? Heyman says, who are the longest reigning tag team champions? The Usos. Who is the largest boss office recipient? Who was in the main event? Roman was. Who was on top the last year? Roman Reigns. The largest crowd in Wrestlemania history. Who was on top? Roman Reigns. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the biggest star in sports entertainment, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns then says, wise man, thank you. He says this, saying what's good. Roman takes the mic and he says, wise man says this saying, what's good for Roman is good for WWE. It's no secret that I am the last needle mover because I am constantly operating in God mode. You see your tribal chief as much more than that. I am a man of my word. I called my shot. I delivered. I said I was going to smash Brock Lesnar. What did I do? I smashed Brock Lesnar. That's the past. I'm constantly moving on, and on SmackDown, we will let you know the next steps. So obviously, they haven't really figured out what the next steps are here for the championship, which is why they are delaying this until Friday. Pretty good promo for me, just your basic Roman Reigns promo. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, nothing special. He then says, Dallas, Texas, acknowledge me, and Raw goes off the air. Overall, Raw was definitely a 5 out of 10 for me. As I said before, guys, after the Cody Rhodes segment, this show fell off drastically. And, I mean, honestly, this is probably going to be our last Monday Night Raw review until next year at Mania. We'll see. We'll see about that, if that's true or not. We're thinking about bringing them the ones after pay-per-views, but I really don't know. We haven't got that figured out yet. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, guys. If you guys did, click a like on it. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Heel Turns and High Spots. Follow my personal Twitter, Freebird Prodigy on Twitter, LionsFan8190 on Snapchat. And if you guys want to follow Charlie on Twitter, it's CBelleville44. And we will see you guys on Thursday for our AEW post show. We will have Charlie back for that one, so I will be joined by my host. Until then, stay safe, guys. Have fun.